Should she tell him no? Don't vote for me?
Is the list that hard? I'm sorry, y'all. I know too much about Destiny's personal life because he's come out and said a lot of stuff. So every time I see his mouth, I just can't take it. I'm sorry
to say because, frankly, they have nothing else to say. And then, obviously, these are the same women that are single voter issues. They only care about aborting children. And then when it comes to protecting women by keeping men out of sports, out of our spaces, and dangerous men out of our country, they're completely silent on. So they don't actually care about women's rights or protecting them.
Okay, let me just break down the panel. Right now, obviously the video is about Destiny's going to get ripped. Okay, so we already know at some point Destiny's going to get ripped. It's all right. It's hilarious, right? Can't wait to see how I edit this or whatever. I like breaking the fourth wall with you guys. I do. I cannot stand this guy. Everything about him makes me sick. Okay, I just want to throw that out there, and that's as much as I'm gonna break down the panel. Okay, let's go ahead.
Once again, they don't know what a woman is, so it wouldn't matter either way. And I just think it's funny that the morally superior liberals are so quick to be like, Trump's a felon, he's a bad guy, and all these things. Yeah, and they're like, no, felons should be able to vote and do all these things. They're like, unless it's Donald Trump. But George Floyd was apparently an amazing person, so.
Well, George Floyd was brutally murdered by a police officer who was convicted of brutally murdering him. And unfortunately, we saw it all on a cell phone. Otherwise, it would have probably never been reported. I can see you shaking your head there, Destiny. Do you want to say
this
something?
happens all the time. Whenever you debate conservatives, I mean, it's happened here. I've seen it happen in other places. It'll be like, here's the standards for, Republican lawmakers. And then they'll point to like people on Twitter on the other side. Like, well, what about that person? Well, I don't remember voting for George Floyd for president or nominating him for president. The idea that that's your basis of comparison, like, oh, you've got a problem with Donald Trump. Well, what about George?
So we already see Destiny is leaping, taking one little talking point and leaping it into a whole whirlpool of confusion. Okay, look, all right, it is what it is, right? And we look at, oh my gosh, like, why is he rolling his eyes like that? Sorry, guys. Yes, my bias is, gonna show with this video. Okay, not really, but I'm being petty. That's what the word is.
Floyd is just such a hilariously telling, I think, example.
Well, let me ask you a difficult question.
Well, he was also a criminal that overdosed, but that's another situation.
That still doesn't get him any closer to being nominated for president of the Democratic Party. I don't understand what the comparison is for.
It's just funny to have different standards. You're like, this is fine, but this isn't fine. That's the whole point of that. You don't need to read that deeply into it. It's not that big of a deal.
It's funny to have different. Do you have different standards for different people? Isn't that the point, to have different standards for different people? Like.
Yeah,
the point is,
I know, once again, that's a joke. It goes far
George
over
Floyd. They put him on murals. They have tattoos. People have tattoos of George Floyd. They uplift him as this amazing, heroic individual. And the point that she's making is less about George Floyd being president. It's the way that they degrade Donald Trump. Because yes, it is not a glorious thing that we have a presidential candidate who has felonies on his hands, but what is more her point that she's making here is that they are degrading him, making it seem like he's this awful person, like he is the worst person to ever walk this earth. But then George Floyd, who has this terrible rap sheet, he is uplifted to the heavens by the left.
Yeah. No, all jokes aside, he's right. He's literally right about everything he's saying. By the way, guys, if you do like these videos, even when I get petty, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you for watching. He is right, though. The left really got on my nerves, more than got on my nerves. Like, I detest the left for it. That was my beginning, transition to like stepping out of the Democratic plantation and into the Republican plantation. No, but yeah, seriously, he is right about what he's saying.
So it's not about him being president.
Well, let's not.
It's just so stupid. I'm sorry. I love my mom to death. She's one of the best people in the world. She would make a horrible president. Okay. If my mom was auditioning to be my mom, I would be #1 her supporter. If my mom was auditioning for president, I'd be her biggest hater on the internet. Like, obviously you have different standards for different people. This is such an insane point. Why would you even try to defend this? At least let her dance away gracefully.
And also the entire point is the left
right?
has different standards for everything except for Donald Trump. That's the whole point. Anything he does is horrible, but if anyone other
let's talk about. I tell you what. Let's talk about
the video.
Let's talk about different standards, because I found it fascinating, Destiny, over the weekend, that out of nowhere, Dick Cheney, who was named Darth Cheney after Darth Vader by Democrats for 20 years. He was to them the evil personification, the villain figure of all conservative ills in America. The guy who took America into the illegal war in Iraq, who trampled over human rights left, right, and center. And yet suddenly he pops up because he doesn't like Donald Trump and says, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. And rather than renounce that endorsement with great speed, which is what she should have done if she had any principles, she issued a statement saying, I'm proud to receive Dick Cheney's endorsement. What happened?
Let me give you some backstory on Piers Morgan. When the Iraq War was happening, when the Iraq War was happening, Piers was one of the few voices that stood up against it and really got a lot of scrutiny for it. You know, obviously Johnny come latelys like myself, but I was 18 at the time, going shopping, wasn't really paying attention. But Johnny come latelys realized we should have never been in Iraq. And, now people understand what he was saying, but he was one of the first few voices that was vehemently against the Iraq War.
Happened to the 24 years of Dick Cheney's the most, according to Joe Biden in 2008, the most dangerous vice president in the history of the United States, is what he said about Dick Cheney. And here's his own vice president saying how proud she is to get that endorsement. Do you feel a sense of pride?
Endorsements are one way. He endorsed her. I mean, it represents some segment of the Republican Party that's obviously dissatisfied with trying to re-elect a traitor, an insurrectionist.
Would you be proud if Dick Cheney endorsed you?
For running for president, you take any endorsement you can get, of course.
Really?
Just because somebody endorses you, somebody endorses you doesn't mean that you support their beliefs.
You take any endorsement you can get. So if Adolf Hitler decides to offer an endorsement, you would accept it.
Let's see what he says.
A vote is a vote. Just because somebody endorses you doesn't mean that you have to. What does it mean to reject an endorsement?
You would literally take an endorsement from Adolf Hitler to win power?
Well, right now I wouldn't because Hitler's dead. So
okay, that is such a cheap cop out. By the way, first of all, his mouth is just all over the place. It can never stay in one position, especially when he's lying. But that is such a cop out.
I don't know what is the point. Do you have to go around and try to disavow different segments of voters that are voting for you? This is such a nonsense question.
It's actually a very good question. It's a very good question.
Absolutely not.
But I'm going to bring in a living figure. If Kim Jong-un decided to offer an endorsement to Kamala Harris, should she accept it or not?
When you say accept an endorsement, should she have a formal ceremony celebrating it?
If Kim Jong-un today said, I endorse from North Korea Kamala Harris to be president of the United States, would you think she should accept that?
Tell me what you mean when you say accept it. Should she tell him no, don't vote for me?
Is the list that hard? I'm sorry, y'all. I know too much about Destiny's personal life because he's come out and said a lot of stuff. So every time I see his mouth, I just can't take it. I'm sorry.
With Dick Cheney, she issued a statement saying how proud she was that he endorsed her. And that staggered me, given what a hate figure Cheney has been for 3 decades or more to liberals, progressive liberals. Here's one of the most progressive, if not the most progressive liberal Democrat nominee in American presidential history, saying how proud she is that Dick Cheney endorsed her. So my question to you was frivolous to start with. Would you accept Hitler's endorsement for a candidate? And you said, absolutely. We didn't dispute it. And then you said, but he's dead. So then I said, well, what about Kim Jong-un or President Xi or Vladimir Putin or the Ayatollah Khomeini? I mean, at what point do these endorsements, if you accept them proudly, become actually disgraceful slurs on your own integrity?
This is a nonsense question. And I remember back in 2008, I watched Ron Paul get hit with the same question. When I was a young college kid, I used to be a libertarian. I think it was some KKK organization or something that came out. They supported Ron Paul. And people were saying, Ron Paul, do you disavow the endorsement from the KKK leader? And Ron Paul said, you know what? If people want to vote for me, that's fine. I'm not going to tell people not to vote for me. Just because somebody endorses me doesn't mean that I support all the views of that person.
It's actually not a terrible answer. So I actually do agree with Destiny. I just think that he's dragged because he wouldn't do this if it was Donald Trump, right? Like if Donald Trump accepted David Duke's endorsement. Matter of fact, that was a whole thing where Donald Trump had to denounce or say he didn't know David Duke when David Duke did endorse Donald Trump. If he didn't do that, Destiny would be there like, I'm just gonna take supporters from KKK and like, and his mouth would be all over the scene, all over this whole screen. I would have had to blur it because it would just been too. Okay, so anywho, so that's the point. It is the blatant hypocrisy that I see here. Me personally, as long as the person isn't hurting kids, I'll take that endorsement. I wouldn't take Netanyahu's endorsement. I would run to the mic to definitely be like, no, I don't want your endorsement at all. But I would have took David Duke's endorsement. Absolutely. Today for sure. I would have been like, oh yeah, he's American, right? Do you know about him? Do you know a lot? What do you know about him? Right? Okay. So because a lot of things are subjective, it's subjective to the person, to the time. But Piers doesn't even actually understand that he's making that point too. He's shocked that Kamala saying, oh, I'm happy about Dick Cheney. Remember? Yeah, I remember that time when everybody was demonizing and all. And I don't think Dick Cheney is a great person because I know exactly why he did what he did. But it just shows you that everybody's working together and it's all a big theater. And I hate to do that, yo. I'm like so Jimmy Dore these days. I mean, I love Jimmy Dore, right? But at the same time, it's like, bro, like totally, right? Like a lot of these people are working together. I would say locally they're not, but a lot of these people up top, it's just becoming a big theater. We're seeing it. Everybody's meshing back to each other. The only thing I will say about this Dick Cheney endorsement of Kamala Harris, and then like I heard George Bush actually endorse Kamala Harris or something. Drop a comment, let me know if I'm right. It is starting to make me feel like, whoa, okay, why don't they like Trump? It is starting to make me be like, let me see what's up. Okay, so I think them endorsing Kamala is actually really good for Trump, and it just says a lot. It does say a lot, but it also says about the uniparty establishment that we have in our government. It is what it is. Good to see the theater going, and I'll continue to cover it. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.